guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles for another breakdown of the Ancient Magus Bride Season 2. Welcome back, this is episode 10. There are now only 2 episodes left. I can't believe that the season is going so fast. If you haven't seen it already, my overview for summer 2023 is already up. What I'm going to be watching, what's taking my fancy, what I'm breaking down on my channel, and the new feature that I am debuting next season. Do make sure you head on over after this to go and check that out. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing it because I'm 1 away from 700. Can you be my hero to take us up to the next goal of 700 subscribers in the Noodle Bowl? Thank you guys so much for your continued support. It's been one of those interesting seasons. A lot going on, but also not much going on. But I think next season feels a bit more on the empty side. Let's get back to episode 10. There's some very interesting bits that happened this week. We do seem to get a lot of answers this week as well to the Webster tragedy. Also, a few bits and pieces that I was asking last week, I've got some answers to finally, which him giving you that money to allow you to continue doing your studies, and you also apparently caring not enough to do his hair. Yeah, no, he doesn't. And we do actually get this finally revealed at the end, the fact that neither hates the other. He loves her, she loves him, but she thinks that he hates her and she feels guilty. I'm so glad that we do get that resolve at the end. Hopefully those two will also have a bit more of a resolve and at least a better relationship where they don't think that the other hates them, which would be quite nice. I still wasn't sure initially how he was escaping the everyone died in the tragedy type thing. But again, we do get the answers at the end as well. It would seem Seth wasn't included in the everybody died bar Lucy phrase because they didn't consider him part of the Websters, cast him out. He survived, he is her brother, but on the records, he isn't, so they probably scrubbed his name out. Although it does seem like the Webster tragedy happens like weeks after he left. Whether they'd gone through quite quickly and scrubbed him out, that's impressive workmanship, but I guess you guys deal in books, that makes sense. We do get 2 very nice sequences to start us off before all of the action starts to go down. Elias sequence. Now the Elias sequence is really nice as well because he's trying to debate about the idea of friendship still. Conversation brought up last week. It's really nice just to see him still debating, can I be friends with this person? He does share his magical powers, whether that's more you're in danger, I'm just going to do that, or whether as well because he's influenced by the way that Chisei acts, because she's very selfless in the fact that she will happily give her magical powers. He's already advised her to do the same, so it would be a bit weird if Elias was like, nah, I'm not going to share it. It's a nice fluffy sequence and I'm really happy with it. We now get that quick shift of the action this time round. We do find out that the guard that we saw at the end was Seth's. The little tiny bit at the open, them meeting that woman on the beach who vaguely seemed familiar. Because there's been such a gap between season 1 and season 2 for me, some of these characters do seem to be drawing blanks with me. I look at them and go, I don't quite remember who you are, but I vaguely recall your importance. It would seem that somebody is trying to finish the failed mission of the Webster tragedy by offing the final 2. Somebody also seems to know that Seth is her brother. Maybe they didn't swipe the records. Maybe they didn't get around to it and they were quite slow. It does seem that they attacked Lucy to get Seth there so they could kill both of them at the same time. Really relieved that Ruth doesn't technically feel the same pain or take the same damage as we do. He probably felt it. It probably hurt. Very quickly he's able to cast a new form. You see that damage is gone. He's able to also turn into the human form to pick up Seth. I like Ruth and it would be sad to see him in pain. That sequence could have been a lot more painful for me, so very happy that it wasn't quite the same as if a normal dog was being hurt. I like the sequence where we see Elias sensing that something bad is going down and immediately going to her side. So I love Elias for that. I'm glad that he's able to sense that something bad's going down because this sequence could have got very, very messy. Now, the moment when we go into the creepy back rooms that are Tim Burton filed spookies back rooms was a really nice link because it's an element that we've seen earlier in the season. They've now brought it round. We're able to use the components of the back rooms. If I leave them in here, they don't have a past. They're going to get ripped to shreds. Second, darker Chisei, the curse, talking to her, telling her where to go, which is quite nice because we saw that teased a few episodes ago as well. Using all of the elements that you've introduced, putting them back in and not introducing stuff and then letting it drop and never talking about it again. I love the fact that Ancient Magus Bride is coming back to all of these features. I did feel bad for the wolves, but I also remember that they killed an entire family. They must also be working for someone. So it's a possibility that maybe somebody is using their kid as a bargaining chip to get them to do bad things. That did cross my mind. They did technically wipe out a lot of people and almost tried to kill a child. I do think it's more the case that they're probably being used. But it is very, very clear that Seth truly cares for his sister. We finally get the backstory to the Webster tragedy, which makes sense because Seth would have had the information and he's willing to talk about it with Chisei. He simply can't use sorcery. And we see that in the fight. She even says you can't do that, and you don't have your weapons. Seth isn't able to use sorcery, and he was born into a very powerful magical family. They simply cast him out. They had Lucy, so she was able to be the successor. Lucy, being quite young, didn't quite understand this, especially the fact that Seth doesn't say anything, which I think doesn't help his case when she asks, is it my fault? Led her to believe he hates me because he's being cast out because of me. I blame myself. I understand why he would hate me. She then runs away. He doesn't say anything, and the air hasn't been cleared in quite some time. It's nice to finally get the wrap up on the scenario because it was bugging me a little bit. We do get that truth behind the tragedy, that somebody ordered a hit, wants now to kill the rest of them. They realise that they've left some behind and they're going to go and finish the job. They also stole the spiders. I believe that the spiders have been massacred, but it seems they've been stolen. Last week we saw a spider web where the book was. Somebody had stolen the cursed book and left a spider web there. I initially thought it was the case that they were trying to frame the two or frame one of them. That can't be the case if people know that the spiders were killed or taken. People behind the tragedy are now trying to get the book. They want to use the powers for some nefarious deed. At least we now know roughly what the villain is thinking. Let me have a moment to just gush about the lighting on this sequence. Absolutely love the lighting here. We've got the beams of light coming through, nice bit of diffusion, still feeling quite dark, despite the fact there's so much light floating around, which I think as well, symbolism for what the scenario really is. There's plenty of love between the two, but the situation feels really dark. Now, Lucy getting angry at Chisei, I'm sad about this. You must be able to understand that she doesn't want to become a cold-blooded killer. They killed your family. But when she heard about the child and she heard them pleading, Chisei isn't a cold-blooded killer. That is going to affect anybody in their right minds. Seeing Chisei eventually kind of step in and stop it, at the time, Chisei also didn't know that they were responsible for murdering your family. I'm pretty sure that information comes up a little bit later on. Initially, at the time, she asked Seth, were they anything to do with the Webster tragedy? Hint that she wasn't connecting the dots, that these were just hitmen or they were just here to cause damage, so she was trying to protect herself. She have acted differently if she had known that they were the reason why Lucy had no family. I still think she would have done what she did. I don't think she's a cold-blooded killer yet. I think with the second Chisei in there, I think she's going to be battling darker urges, but I still don't think Chisei is capable of doing anything very dark, hopefully. It's all coming back round, which I think is quite nice that we're getting this big old link. Plotline seems to be a good couple of years dating back because apparently it might have something to do with the tragedy. It might go even further back than that because the second woman who starts to work out the book is linked says a few years back, I also saw this. She hints that this goes back. Then we get the look at Philomera's grandmother again. I think it is because she then states to somebody on the phone, we've got some pests. I'm wondering if the pest that she's relating to is either Elias or Chisei. They've just lost a wolf. Whether that news has now got back to her that somebody has actually started to take notice. How you would have not expected someone to take notice because you've now made the second attack. Very obvious that you're up to something. Don't know if Philomera is also getting in the way. Maybe she is. She hasn't really been shown to be opposing the will of the grandma just yet. I don't know if it is anything to do with Philomera, but I do believe it is down to Philomera's family wanting to off the Websters because they are both big families. They probably just wanted those spiders for themselves, decided that they wanted to go and get them, and then decided to wipe them all out. Then noticed that two of them were still left alive. I do also remember that there was a child in the barn next to Lucy when she found them. This is a big old stretch. That was Philomera. Philomera was sent to do the dirty work. She was in the barn. Seth finds Lucy cowering in the blood. Philomera has vanished. I don't know if Lucy's put two and two together. Maybe that's also why she's not keen on Philomera. I don't know. That's my big stretch. I have a feeling that Philomera is doing the dirty work for her grandmother. She was also there present at the Webster tragedy all those years ago. Very interesting episode where we're getting a lot of information. Lots of puzzle pieces now falling into place. We've only got 2 episodes, so we need to now start wrapping things up a bit quicker. Interested to see how things are going to pan out, but I think my theory is pretty solid now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you are looking after yourselves. Sorry if I sound a bit weird. I think I'm getting a cold. My hay fever is just really bad anyway. It's probably both. Thank you so much for your continued support. I will see you guys again in another video. And please do check out my overview for summer because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out next season. I hope you guys are going to join me on some more breakdowns. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys again. Bye bye.